Trilogy is a 1969 film directed by Frank Perry, the great American director of forgotten classics such as David and Lisa, Ladybug Ladybug, The Swimmer, Last Summer, and others. Trilogy is written by Truman Capote and is based on 3 short stories by the author: Miriam, which stars Mildred Natwick and Susan Dunphy; Among the Paths to Eden, with Maureen Stapleton and Martin Balsam; and A Christmas Memory, starring Geraldine Page and Donnie Melvin. This American anthology drama film was selected to premiere and compete at the 1968 Cannes Film Festival, being one of the 2 only American pictures selected for that year's festival, the other being Richard Lester's Petulia. However, due to France's student revolutions in May of 1968, the Cannes Film Festival was cancelled, and thus Trilogy did not premiere there. Trilogy is actually a compilation of 3 short films produced for ABC television: A Christmas Memory, originally aired in December of 1966, Among the Paths to Eden in December of 1967, and Miriam, which aired after the picture's release in April of 1970. These 3 episodes were edited and slightly changed to fit the feature picture. Trilogy is a very special, powerful, and wonderful American film. Trilogy was praised by critics upon its release, and Howard Thompson of the New York Times said that the film quietly says and conveys more about the human heart and spirit than most of today's freewheeling blastaways on the screen. Delicately, it towers. Although disagreeing with Thompson's put-down of Easy Rider, which is probably the picture he refers to as a freewheeling blastaway, which is an incredible film that changed the course of cinema. However, Trilogy is also a fantastic film. Miriam, the picture's first story, is quite a creepy segment about a former governess, Miss Miriam Miller, an elderly and lonely woman played by Mildred Natwick, who has been rejected by her niece to be the nanny of her newborn baby. Desperate and depressed, Miriam encounters a young girl, also called Miriam, who keeps stalking her and appears everywhere she goes, even in her apartment at night. This gripping story ends in a wise but painful message. Among the Paths to Eden, being my favorite of the 3 stories, is about an elderly man, Ivor Belly, played by Martin Balsam, who is visiting his wife's grave when a lonely spinster, Mary O'Megan, played by Maureen Stapleton, interrupts Ivor and strikes up a conversation. The 2 lonely individuals seem to bond really well, sharing their love for singer Helen Morgan and reminiscing of their past. However, the story does not end as one would want, and once again, a melancholy but beautiful ending occurs. The last story, A Christmas Memory, being one of Capote's most well-known short stories, is narrated by Capote himself and is a mainly autobiographical story about a young boy named Buddy, being Capote himself, played by Donnie Melvin, and his recollections of his childhood living with 2 aunts and an old cousin, Sook, who he loves, played by Geraldine Page. This final story is incredibly tender, warm, and humble, and leaves you with a very good feeling after having seen it. This story is about how Buddy and Sook spend their last Christmas together, as Buddy then departs to a military school and never sees Sook again. Once again, this story ends with a poignant, yet enchanting finale. Think of the feelings Terrence Malick's Tree of Life evoked in you, because A Christmas Memory and Among the Paths to Eden evokes similar emotions. This autobiographical tale is continued in Frank Perry's The Thanksgiving Visitor, another Capote story made into a television film in 1967. For me, Frank Perry's, and largely Truman Capote's, masterful 1969 picture is like a poem, profound and pensive, beautiful and tragic. I highly recommend watching this great film from an unfairly little talked about great American director. Thank you for watching, and see you next Friday.